Hey guys, it's me, Mario. And today, we're going to continue Torgor, the Minotaur. What? I almost lost my spot. Torgor, the Minotaur. Almost lost my spot. Chapter 5, Malvel's Map. How you guys doing today? Hope you're doing well. Here we go. Chapter 5, Malvel's Map. Tom dug his heels hard into Storm's sides. "Go!" he shouted. Storm fled along the path through the forest. Tom bent low over the horse's neck, with Elena clinging on behind. Silver raced along beside him. "Come on, boy," he yelled, patting Storm's neck to encourage him faster. On either side of the path, trees bent over, reaching out with their limbs to snatch and claw at Tom and Elena, their branches creaking like cruel laughter, leading down to his shield, which was fastened on Storm's saddle. Tom rubbed the piece of Tagis's magical horseshoe that was fixed there. The extra speed it would give them might just save their lives. Storm's hooves became a blur as he thundered down the path. Thick, thorny bushes were closing in all around them, and Tom drew his sword. The skills given to him by the golden gauntlets helped him to hack a way through them. Out of the corner of his eye, he spotted an ivy tendril snake out towards him. It tried to snatch the weapon from his grasp, but he was ready for it and slashed it away. "Tom, look!" Elena cried, pointing over his shoulder. Tom saw that they were coming to the end of the forest. He pushed Storm even harder, and they burst out into the open again, beneath the swirling red sky of Gorgonia. Gradually, he slowed Storm to a walk. Glancing back, he saw the whole of the forest moving, branches slashing around in fury. "What happened here?" Helena asked, looking down at the ground. All around them, the earth was turned up. Trees had been uprooted and tossed aside, their roots twisting up in the air. "The forest has been ripped up," Tom replied. "I don't know why, but it's lucky for us. I thought we'd never make it out of there." There's the village," Elena asked. "Where's the village?" Elena asked. "Can you still see it?" He gazed around, looking for the landmark. But even with his magical sight, he couldn't spot the village he had seen earlier. "Just flat land. I'm not sure where we are," he replied truthfully. "Tearing through that forest has got us completely lost." "How about Tagis?" Elena asked anxiously. "No sign of him either," Tom said, shaking his head. "I just hope he hasn't been captured by Malvel. He pulled out his father's compass again. But this time the needle swung it to and fro without giving a clear reading. "We better keep going," he began. Just then a sizzling sound that interrupted him, and a flash of red lightning struck the ground. Storm reared with a whine of fear, and Tom had to struggle to get him under control again. When the horse was quiet, Tom saw that something was lying on the ground where the lightning had struck. Elena slid down from Storm's back and ran to pick it up. "Careful," Tom warned her, dismounting as well. Elena handed Tom what looked like a rolled-up piece of parchment. Tom shuddered as he touched it. It was greasy animal hide. Holding the parchment at arm's length, Tom slowly unrolled it. "It's a map," Elena exclaimed. "I wonder if it's magical like the map of Eventia that Elder gave us." Tom examined the map uneasily. The land it showed was unfamiliar, and across the top of it, in spiky black letters, was the word Gorgonia. He glanced up and at the stormy sky. "Did you send this, Malvel?" he shouted. "Do you think we're going to trust it?" A familiar cruel laugh rang out. It was Malvel, though there was no sign of the evil wizard. "We'll rescue Tagus," he vowed defiantly, "and we don't need your map." "Ah, but I think you'll find it very useful, Tom," Malvel whispered in his ear, and then he laughed again. The sound faded in the wind. He was gone. Tom and Elena looked down at the map. "Look, here's the Lion's Gate into Eventia," Elena pointed. "That means we're in the southwest, and there's the forest. And here's the marsh." Tom traced a line from the forest. "The village is not far from here," he said. "And look, there's a picture of Tagus next to it." The tiny image of the horseman suddenly became animated, rearing up and stamping his hoofs. His head and upper body thrashed to and fro, as if he were trying to throw off invisible chains. "Then that's where we must go to help it, Tagus," Elena said. "Unless you think the map is trying to trick us." "I don't completely trust it," Tom declared, "but it's all we've got, so we'll have to take a chance. If Malvel is leading us into a trap, we'll be ready." He began to roll the map up again, when Elena grabbed his hand to stop him. "Look, it's changing." Tom stared. Elena was right. The edges of the forest and marsh were shifting. A tall, jagged rock face appeared, and a waterfall vanished. But the village stayed in the same place. All the landmarks were moving. "Malvel's trying to confuse us," Tom said grimly. "He will try to make it as hard as possible for us to follow this map. Still, the map might help us if we're careful how we use it," Elena said. Yes, you're right. Malvel thinks he can play games with us, but we'll find out he is mistaken. Let's get going. Tom rolled up the map and stowed it away in Storm's saddlebag. As he and Elena climbed into the saddle again, a purple moon appeared over the trees, shading threatening lights over the ruined forest. Tom urged Storm forwards. He felt Elena grip his waist, and knew that his friend was as determined. As determined as he was. He clenched his hands on the reins. Whatever the danger, we'll face it, he said, for the sake of Eventia. And that was chapter 5. Halfway through this book. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. Enjoy my read through of Beast Quest. I think the third series gets kind of confusing after a while. Like in the third or fourth book, it starts getting confusing a bit. Because they bring in a character from another series that Adam Blade did. I think it's called the Sea Quest, I believe. They bring in a character from that series and Score, the Winged Stallion, I think. And then it gets a bit confusing. I don't have Sequest, so else I would have read the Sequest if I had it. But I don't, so I just have Beast Quest. Hope that's okay with everyone. But yeah, hope you guys like and subscribe if you're interested in more Beast Quest readings from me. Well, bye-bye.